Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Friday. Yes. Thank Crunchy, as the old advert used to say. It's Friday. There we go. I'm a Haggerty Chen, Tony Haggerty. Oh, what's happening here? Got something happened there? Got a bit of bounce back feedback there. There you go. Anyway, I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty Chen, Twitter handle, you know that by now. And I'm joined today by Sean Martin at Sean Martin PCW and at Calum Macaulay 1. Calum Macaulay, how you doing, guys? What's happening?
Not bad, Tony. Yeah, not bad. Callum, you're still basking in the glory of your quiz win the other night.
Of course, I didn't know if I'd be invited back after that thumping, but here we are.
Surprised you're not doing a lap of honour as we speak of that cold student room that you're in, clearly, at the minute. Now, Callum, big day today. It's your last day, isn't it?
It is. It's an emotional farewell, but it's been good.
How's your experience been? Yes, let us know how your experience has been. You enjoyed it?
I've enjoyed it. Got a good few articles out. I've enjoyed running the TikTok, being a wee social media creator there. And it's just been good. Obviously, off-season, but I've enjoyed it.
Good on you. Highlight being, of course, hammering me in the quiz, as Sean's already alluded to. Yes, indeed.
No doubt.
Now, first things first, we big up our sponsors. As you can see, the One Football app, and we thank them very much for their sponsorship of the programme. And it's the one-stop football shop for scores, news, lineups, transfer rumours, match highlights, and much, much more. You can immerse yourself in the digital football world and have the best personal football experience out there. Get downloading the One Football app, and we say thanks to them again for their sponsorship of the Celtic Way Morning Briefing. And running along the bottom, as you all know, you know what to do by now. Subscribe to the Celtic Way, supporting top quality journalism, covering the club that you love, and it's £3 for the next 3 months. All you have to do to join us is hit the button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Now, Celtic move on to the second of their pre-season friendlies against Rapid Vienna, and for those of a certain vintage, boo! Rapid Vienna, boo! All together now, all the older people on and tuning in, boo! Right, that's that. Now, Sean, lots of things happening before this game takes place tomorrow, not least of which is a couple of injuries, Sean, in the squad that the manager alluded to. Now, Carl Starfelt seems to be the most important one. Excellent, David, I'm liking that. With a hamstring injury that he contracted while he was with Sweden, which could rule him out for most of the pre-season, Ange Postecoglou said, but should be back in time for Aberdeen. But it's not ideal preparation for somebody like Starfelt, is it, that missing most of the pre-season?
I think you're muted, Sean.
No, it's not, because he didn't have a pre-season properly with Celtic last year either, remember? Yeah. So no, that's not ideal. I think we knew when he got injured with Sweden that there was a chance it would overlap into pre-season.
Yes.
Weren't sure whether it was going to overlap to the extent that he wouldn't get a pre-season, especially when he travelled to Austria. The kind of signs that I took it as a good sign that he maybe would be back. But no, it was. I mean, potentially is it a chance for Chris Julian to make a case again? There's also Stephen Welsh and Boston Lowell there. I don't know. What do you think, Callum?
Yeah, I think. Well, he said today that he's going to treat Julian like any other player almost, so it could give Julian a chance to get in there, even if he's wanted to just put himself in the shop window. He could prove a couple of things, but obviously not having Starfelt in for that pre-season after he's played with Carter Vickers the whole season is quite a blow for the team, I think.
Sean, you made the point that you would be loath to part with Julian for that very reason.
Yeah,
didn't you? We were talking about that a few weeks ago, and I remember you saying you would hold on to Julian because until they either brought in another centre defender, because you run the risk that somebody might get injured. Hey ho, Carl Starfelt is injured. They say he'll be back for the first game of pre-season, but it could be tight, couldn't it?
It could be. I think for me, you look at what Ange Postecoglou said about Chris Julian's future, first and foremost, that, as Callum said there, it could put himself in the shop window. I'll read out the kind of quote just so that you get the context of what I'm talking about. But he was asked, Ange Postecoglou, by Graham and co. Obviously, Graham was on yesterday with me there over in Austria. He just says he doesn't delve into whether the defender would like to stay at the club. And for him, he says, for me, while he's here and wearing our shirt, I'll treat him like a player of our football club, as I do with every one of them until the moment that they decide their future lies elsewhere. Now, that's something similar to what we've heard before from Ange Postecoglou. Now, the most important part of that to me, like a lot of what the manager says, is that it's consistent. Everyone knows where they stand. He's spoken before about not ostracising a player and creating disharmony within the group, etc. And this ties into that. I think, look at the performances that he got out of Ryan Christie before he left last summer. Odsonne Edouard may be slightly different in terms of the level of performance, but he nonetheless kept using him and he scored a couple. I think this is just the way Ange Postecoglou works. So he basically says, well, you haven't told me you don't want to be here. You're one of us. Once you don't want to be here, that's fine. We'll manage without you. I think basically that's the kind of mantra with it. In my experience, footballers and people in general like and appreciate that type of upfront attitude for the most part. And I think certainly more than just Chris Julian himself, I think the collective will appreciate that, the way that he deals with that.
Great minds think alike, Sean, and fools seldom differ. I've written that quote down right there. There it is. So bunch that up before we throw my thunder on that. But no, I totally agree with what you've just said there. Players do like that honesty, and Ange Postecoglou's an upfront manager. So while Christopher Julien's there, he will get possibly an opportunity. And if he decides that his future lies elsewhere and decisions have to be made, then that's fair enough. Ange will deal with that moving forward. But he will have all sorts of contingency plans there, and he'll be planning right now for if and when Julian does leave.
Now, or
if he stays.
Yeah, I mean, in the context of Carl Starfelt's absence, it means potentially, that Julian could conceivably play his way into the team. You never know with that.
Yep.
I think it depends, firstly, on his attitude and his performances during the next couple of weeks, and then where his head is at in terms of wanting to leave. Starfelt, you're right to say, Tony, that Ange Postecoglou says he is probably going to be fine for the league opener, but that doesn't mean he's got to start the league opener. Someone looking to make a breakthrough, whether that's a young player like Boston Lowell or Stephen Welsh, or an experienced one like Chris Julian, they should, to me right now, they should be catching the scent of an opportunity.
Yeah, and how fit will Carl Starfelt be for that opener, Callum? If he does miss a chunk of this pre-season, there's always that to consider, because there's a difference between being fit and match fit.
Definitely.
As players tell you themselves.
And there'll be others in pre-season that are getting to know how Bernabei plays and stuff like that. I don't know if they're on the same side or not, but
yeah,
if they are on the same side, then it's a partnership there that can be made, and players in pre-season will be getting that while Starfelt sitting on the bench or watching from the sidelines.
Yeah, and
that's a good point, actually, Tony. That is a good point he makes, because obviously it's left centre back that Carl Starfelt's been playing. Carter Vickers basically has the right centre back position nailed down. You know, Tony, I went on and on about the fact that it's more difficult for a right footer to play left centre back. Some prefer it, but when I say some prefer it, the examples that stand out are like Sergio Ramos and Virgil van Dijk. It's hardly a fair comparison to make. But everything takes that extra wee nanosecond if it's your unnatural side. I think Greg Taylor and Carl Starfelt did eventually form quite a decent partnership. Callum's right to point out that Alexandro Bernabei will have to form a partnership, whether it's with Carl Starfelt or with someone else. In pre-season, it could actually come down to that as well. I think that's a great point. On Wednesday, Boston Lowell started left centre-back, and he switched to right centre-back in the second half after Julien went off. So that kind of... Would Julien go back to left centre-back? I don't know. The thing is, and again, I've mentioned this to you plenty before, we've just not got to see it really. But Chris Julien played left centre-back for Toulouse before he came to Celtic.
Yeah, he did.
Not totally unfamiliar to him, even though he's not really done it at Celtic.
Yep.
So there is an avenue for that to be the case. I'll be interested to see when we come to the teams tomorrow if he's back in and if he's on that side.
And also as well, Boston Lowell never done his chances any harm, Callum, because he was quite impressive, and I'm allowing for the opposition, but he looked quite solid, didn't he? And rugged, and looked as if he could do a job there.
He did, definitely, and he's got a good size about him as well, but then he also had the quickness there. We had our first game of pre-season, and I think that team we just played, they're about halfway through the league campaign, and he still had the sharpness a lot of the times to beat the tackles to the ball. So that's a great asset to have at the back if you've got that bit about you, and then you've still got the pace with you. So if he can give a contribution this season in any form, it'd be good to see it.
Lots of comments going in about Julian. As Phil saying, I think Julian would be good beside the quality of Cameron Carter-Vickers. You got other? I think there's other comments here, Sean. Have you started?
That comment in particular that ties in. Remember, you spoke to Alan Stubbs, Tony, for the website, and he mentioned the difference that a partner can make to your own game. Yes. He obviously spoke about Mark Reaper, but it was he felt that Cameron Carter-Vickers had that influence on Carl Starfelt's game.
He did indeed, yeah, and you know we alluded to it there as Callum brought it up, but partnerships are important, especially in pre-season when you're heading into your domestic and European campaign. And I don't think Ange Postecoglou would be wanting to chop and change his defence, but
he won't. No,
necessity dictates at this minute, and it's early juncture, and it's they're getting fitness into players' legs to bring them up to speed if they do have to fill any kind of role, Callum, at the back.
Yeah, definitely. And even though the attitude, going back to the attitude of Ange saying that he's going to play a player as I see, because he's still in the club, so he's not going to treat him any differently. I think that can only be a good thing. We said it just earlier, but with Christie last season, before he went, he had a great performance. I don't know who it was against, maybe in Dundee. He got 3 assists in that game.
Yeah,
brilliant. So if Julian puts in good performances to try and get himself out there, it's only a good thing, even if he doesn't end up moving, because then he's just got that form on his side there.
Yeah, it's a kind of win-win in those situations, isn't it? If you've got a player who may be unhappy but wants to play for a move, then he's going to try his damnedest to get that move. And whilst he's there, you get, as Sean said, you get the best out of him, like Ryan Christie did last season before he left. Christopher Ayer as well. You can argue the toss whether Odsonne Edouard did that. A lot of Celtic supporters think maybe not. But other injuries as well. Lila Bada and Josip Juranovic have got carrying niggles, Sean, but I think you said they were the least serious of the three. So they should form some part or play some part, and I would have thought some of those pre-season friendlies coming up.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to put up a comment here. Actually, I have got that wrong. You did state left centre back. I think what was sticking in my mind there was the chance that Vienna Victoria got. He was dragged over to that area. I think that's what's sticking in my mind. But no, Elfington's right to say that he did state left centre back. Kind of forgot Urigidi was meant to be in that that position. But no, fair enough. No, in terms of the other two, you mentioned Juranovic and Abada. Yeah, as Postecoglou did say, they should be fine. It was just a knock. It's not ideal, obviously, because you kind of want to get them back involved as soon as possible. But no, the concern would be Starfelt and who would replace him.
Now, quick one, Callum. Everton have been announced as the team that Celtic will play in the Super Cup in Australia. Angie's homecoming. Happy with that?
Definitely. It's just good to see that they've actually been able to get someone in, and we will be able to secure the cash for that wee tournament there while the World Cup's on. And I mean, it's a Premier League side. Premier League side can't go wrong, but I prefer them to Liverpool anyways.
Sean, you happy with that?
I think I made my views on the initial plan quite clear at the time, Tony, and so did you. I think the term Harlem Globetrotters was used, I believe, as well as talk of half and half scarves and stuff like that. But let's move on from it. I suppose it was an ill-advised idea, is the way I would put it. But the notion of a trip to Australia wasn't. That was never the point. And it'll be a great time for the fans down under who'll get to see the team live, and actually will likely be quite a strong team now. Given that, for instance, the Scottish contingent didn't make the World Cup. So, I mean, I'll put a link in the comments, actually, that I've put the dates for the Sydney Super Cup included in our kind of pre-season and key dates article. So I'll link these up in the comments because it's one to pin. I use it for my own reference myself. So
now we move on. Tomorrow, Celtic play Rapid Vienna.
Oh, Tony, would you like me to give you a wee second to compose yourself?
Yes, you can.
Because I've just read your latest column. Which will go on the website either later today or tomorrow. And let's just say 12-year-old you wasn't very fond of Rapid Vienna, and I don't think 49-year-old you is either.
No, and on Monday I officially become a Celtic da because I hit the big Hawaii 5-0. But I'm still. I'd like to think I was over it, but I'm clearly not. Time's not a great healer when it comes to Rapid Vienna. And for those of you that remember it, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, my column. You'll get my thoughts if you read the column, but it suffice to say is we'll move
You
on.
can't even get the words out.
No, I can't get the words out.
Needless to say, Calum, there's a history lesson contained in Tony's piece about the December 1984 shenanigans.
Yes, indeed.
It means, to be honest, Tony won't be alone. Plenty of fans will be in the same boat and simply dislike tomorrow's opponents as a club. But anyway, get your eyes on the website for that either later today or tomorrow morning. For now, I suppose, Tony, to let you calm down a bit, we should maybe just take it as another pre-season game.
Yes.
So what are you expecting to see in this one?
We spoke off air, Sean, and I said to you that I expected Celtic to win 6 or 7-0 against the first opponents, SC Vienna, Victoria.
Yeah.
This one, I guess it's a step up in class in terms of your opponents. So, like you, we spoke off air before we come on, I'm expecting a stronger team, but I'm still expecting Celtic to play the same way with a bit of zip, a bit of tempo, and to be clinical when the chances come along, which I thought they were the other night. And I as I say, and if they're playing a stronger team, then I expect another level of performance and for it to be ratcheted up. And I hope that's what happens. And I'm sure that's what Andrew wants, because even when he was interviewed afterwards, he was just like, "Yeah, we did okay." He's very much on the down low. So there was obviously things that he thought they could have done better. So that's always a great thing.
I think I'd probably agree with that. I think that apart from anything else, I'm wanting to see the intensity, which I think will be there because it was there in the first game. That would have been the easier game not to have it. I want to see the intensity, and I want to see those small behaviours that I spoke about with these post-match as well. That's arguably the stuff I want to see the most, actually. A win would be nice. You always want to see a win. But yeah, the intensity and the kind of learned behaviours that show that Ange Postecoglou's lessons are being absorbed deeper and deeper. Some of the youngsters as well getting a go at Rapid. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Calum,
Sorry, there was a lot of good performances from the B team who played the other day, and it'd be good to see how they do. Well, it's still a pre-season match, how they do against a better opposition. Johnny Kenny get 2 goals in just 45 minutes, and one of them was a tap-in, the other one was a good finish on the swivel.
Got to be there for the tap-in, though.
Aye, definitely. He's got himself in that position. Go on.
My thoughts about that, Calum, was we spoke about it after the programme, and I said the great thing about the B team players was every one of them that played, they weren't afraid to try stuff. And you can actively see that the managers clearly had an impact on them and saying, go out there, enjoy it, try stuff. Sean, we've spoken about it before, that the only way you learn is by making mistakes, but it won't discourage you from doing it, even if you make a mistake. It's always drummed into them. The only way you learn to play the way we want to play is by continually doing the same things. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Just keep going. You listen and learn. And I thought that was evident on Wednesday, because the players clearly listened, they learned, and they weren't afraid. They were all full of zest and full of vigour, which is what you want to see from a young team, Calum. A bit like yourself and your work experience week,
Aye, well, if they can play with that same confidence, it'd be a good thing. And I'm hoping to see a bit of Idiguchi again. See what he can do. I thought it was a really good performance from him. After he made about 6 appearances last season. Obviously had that injury, but I'm hoping to see him sort of building in this pre-season, hopefully.
Yes, Sean, I did the man by mans the other night, and I picked out Haggerty and Idiguchi as 2-star performers. Idiguchi played the whole game, and I thought he was terrific.
Yeah, I thought he played well. Yeah, I think as we spoke about the other night, Rael Haggerty was not in top gear, but still very much head and shoulders ahead, a step ahead of everyone else. I thought,
that's what the Ayrshire Sea does for you.
Yeah, did you read that? Yeah, for anybody not sure about that reference, Rael Haggerty said because of the kind of the intense schedule when he first arrived, January to May, it was only once the summer hit that he managed to take a wee break and properly recharge, and he referenced a trip down the Ayrshire coast. So,
the Ayrshire Riviera, as it's known.
Second to the Clyde Riviera, of course, Tony, as you well know. Of
course, down your Port Glasgow neck of the woods. Yes,
Port Glasgow, I don't think so, Tony.
No, you're not having that, Sean. Is that a slur, is it?
No, that's where my wife's originally from. That's a port onion, you call that. But
I stand corrected, Calum. There you go. There you have it. No, but there was a lot of. I mean, again, nobody's getting carried away with a first pre-season game, but as you say, Sean, there's certain behaviours or certain things you want to see, and the Japanese players who came from having played a season straight into another intense period with Celtic, they all look refreshed. Well, certainly the two that played the other night look refreshed and look all the better for it, and I think that's what they're aiming for as well, to not let their game go up a notch as well. And Andrews probably expect that, but they needed the rest, didn't they? Basically, well,
yeah,
he certainly did. Maybe not so much Ideguchi, but he's got a point to prove in terms of what he can bring to the table, and he's certainly gone about it the right way.
No, I think that is what it was. I think a lot of players needed a rest. I think it was just one of those campaigns. You factor in everything with the injuries and the lack of depth in the first half of the season, different things like that. But in terms of a pre-season, and I said this to Graham yesterday as well, yeah, it obviously is about getting up to speed, match sharpness, all of that stuff. But I'll keep coming back to it. It is also about learning those behaviours more deeply, more getting them more ingrained and tactically improving as much as it is the fitness stuff. So yeah, as I say, for tomorrow, I'm looking forward to seeing that kind of thing, because it is a step up in class, a formidable step up in class. They're going to be, I think they're already 3 games into their pre-season schedule and have a cup game next weekend and then the Europa Conference League qualifiers. So they're a wee bit further along than Celtic are at this point. So it is a step up in class. That's where you want to see, particularly the youngsters, but it goes for everyone as well. If you make a mistake trying something that you've been asked to try, you want to see them doing it again as soon as possible. You want to see them trying it again. And that's where Ange Postecoglou will know that his message is getting through.
I like the use of them and they when referring to the team from Austria, Calum, whose name will now become
plenty of comments in here.
Yeah, go on then, Sean. Flick some of the comments.
Well, you won't be happy with this one. Frank saying thankfully he's well over Rapid Vienna. Yes. This is more in your wheelhouse. Jerry McCann was at that game, still not over it. David Gillespie, he was only 2 at the time, but he's been taught to dislike them. And then Michael Ross, summing it up for you, Tony. I will never forgive Rapid. So
Michael, you speak of my language, Michael, as the words of the famous Australian Men at Work song says. Indeed. Now, Calum, it's been wonderful having you for the past couple of weeks. We genuinely hope that you've enjoyed the experience and it's not been too much of a bind to put up with Hoddit and Doddit here. But
it's been a really good opportunity for us.
Thank you for your contribution as well. It's been excellent, first class.
We should mention, while we're on the subject of Calum, I'll put a link in the comments. He's done another feature, this time with the help of Celtic great Peter Grant, Calum. So I'll put that up, and it's just a wee quick run through of what it is, Calum. Don't totally spoil it for people, though.
I won't. So I was just going on Angie's philosophy, obviously. We never stop. And I just spoke a wee bit to Peter Grant there about how it compares to the attitude of teams in the centenary season, basically. It was really nice to speak to him, big Celtic man, I discovered.
You don't say.
And he was basically just giving us a wee couple of quotes here and there about how it was back then, what the attitudes were with the players and stuff like that, and how maybe that's evolved over the years. So,
he's a
nice one. Yeah,
he's a wonderful fella, is Peter Grant. He really is.
He is.
And he's as you say, a big Celtic man, as they would say, Sean. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Certainly is. There's a few comments, Tori. We should probably talk for at least a brief 30 seconds about Mr. Vinicius Souza. A couple of ones saying that it's actually done, that he's away to Espanyol. I don't see it having been confirmed quite yet, but it is by all accounts.
Yeah, but it looks like
about to be. Fabrizio Romano and others reporting it. But I mean, as I say, a few reports saying he's en route to Espanyol. How to put it, that'll be a different type of challenge for him than the Champions League group stages and potential trebles, but each to their own, obviously. As I said previously, James Daly's data report, which I'll put in the comments again, that flagged up that he might have made a real impact as that combative presence in the midfield in Europe, but perhaps maybe struggled with how to fit in when playing domestically, where it's more about progressing the ball intelligently rather than stopping the opposition from playing. seems like we won't find out either way now. So I suppose the search goes on for that type of player, eh?
Very much so. And also, I think if you're Ange Postecoglou, you quickly move on. There will be other targets, and David Ferguson sums it up succinctly there. I think, Calum, Espanyol over Celtic, many laughing emojis. Each to their own, as they say.
Listen, we move on. But
we move on, indeed.
I can, even if he's wanting to get a wee bit of experience in the Spanish league, I'm pretty sure Real Betis were after him as well.
There was apparently 20 teams, Calum, expressed an interest. But each to their own, as I say, each to their own.
Yeah. Indeed, each to their own. No doubt there'll be 20 people after you, Calum. One of them myself for hammering me in the quiz. That's neither here nor there. I'm over that. Not over Rapid Vienna, but I'm over that defeating the quiz. So
I don't believe that.
As I said, sound like you're over it yet, Tony.
As I said earlier, it's the law. I get beaten every quiz, so it doesn't matter. But there you have it. Yes, indeed, exactly, Calum. On to the next player on the list, as Damien Ferguson says, of course, and that's the Ange Postecoglou philosophy, isn't it? We move on. We go and get other targets and see, and if they want to come, they'll be at the club. Basically, that's the way Celtic do their business. But no, I'll say it again. Thanks for your contribution, Calum. Enjoyed having you. Been a cracking couple of weeks. I hope you've enjoyed the experience with ourselves. It's we're trying to build this up big time, and hopefully we're going about it the right way. You can tell all your friends that you had a wonderful time.
I will. I'll be slotting in every conversation, making sure the biggies up. Thanks for having us.
If not, just do the Boris Johnson impersonation, just lie and say it was great anyway, right? So it's one of those things. But no, thanks very much. And we'll just say, have a fabulous Friday, guys. And on to that game tomorrow against them. You know who they are.
Sorry, before I forget.
Before you forget, yes, indeed.
Before I forget, if any of you that watch regularly are on Twitter, I know some of you are already and following, you will have seen this, but if any of you are on Twitter or maybe haven't been on it in a while, we're currently running a giveaway for a Celtic away top on our Twitter account. So it's free to enter. All you need to do is go to the Twitter profile. I'll put the link in the comments. You retweet the pinned tweet at the top, the pinned post, at the top, and make sure you follow the account, and then that's you in the draw, which will be made on Wednesday.
For a Celtic away top?
Celtic away top, yep.
Celtic away top, and a nice top it is too. Although you don't like the back, Sean, do you?
I don't like much of it, to be honest with you. But,
okay.
I was accused of being Gok Wan when I was going on about the tops last week, so I'll not spend too much time on it. But needless to say, it's free, so might as well get involved.
Indeed, get involved. You could win yourself a Celtic away jersey. But brilliant. And with that, we'll end this fabulous Friday. We could talk forever, as we always do, about Celtic. But no, Sean, thanks very much for your contribution. Always enjoy it. Thanks to the contributors. And Calum, good luck at uni. I'm sure our paths will cross again, even if it's just for revenge and another quiz. That's really what will happen. But good luck to you, fella, and keep in touch. All right?
Cheers.
We'll no doubt see you again moving forward. All right? Listen, guys, thanks a lot. Have a wonderful day, and we shall reconvene. In fact, we might be back tomorrow, Sean, after...
We'll be back tomorrow, post-match.
Post-match. After a Rapid Vienna. There, I said the words. I need to go and wash my mouth out now. But yeah, we'll be back after the match against Rapid Vienna and see if Celtic can stroll to another victory in their pre-season tour of Austria. Thanks very much for joining.
Cheers, Tony. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.